I'm Steve, and this is Tabletop Tastings. And here is another episode of Whiskey Drams with me, Steve. This time I thought we'd talk about one of my favorite cocktails, and that is the Old Fashioned. The Old Fashioned was first referenced about 1806, so it's been around for a long time. Maybe why they call it the Old Fashioned. But it wasn't the same as we know it today. Those old-fashioned recipes included all types of spirits, whether it was mezcal, gin, anything basically they could find, and that would go into that old-fashioned. It is kind of similar today, where you can get an old-fashioned made in so many varieties. In fact, we're going to do two today that are really top of my list in the favorite way that I like them. But you know, when we think about that old-fashioned, there's competing stories going around as to the origin of the old-fashioned, that simple cocktail. Some say that the drink actually originated in Louisville, in a private social club called the Pendennis Club. And the originator was a man named James E. Pepper. They linked it to him and his distillery. But you know, even with that guy, there's tons of rumors around it. Some claim Louisville, some will claim it originated in New York City. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter, because the Old Fashioned is one of the best cocktails, because nowadays we make it with either bourbon or whiskey, and that always hits the top of my list. One of the really cool stories about the Old Fashioned came out in 1936, a New York Times article, and this is the way I would love to see it. So the writer made a statement that the real Old Fashioned should be mixed this way. He said, I would go to my bar and I'd ask for an Old Fashioned. The bartender would bring out some bitters, a lump of ice, a bar spoon, some sugar, and then he'd plump down the bottle right next to your glass, and you get to decide how much whiskey or bourbon is going into the glass. I would love to sit down and have that kind of service. Wouldn't that be awesome? So that's, when you think about old fashions, there's so many ways that you can make it, and I really think that's what makes it so special. And everywhere I go, I always ask, do you make an old fashioned? If they say yes right away, that's what I'm getting. And you know what? The old fashioned is just, it's so simple and it's so tasty. There's really only three ingredients to it. There's your bitters, there's your simple syrup, or even just a clump of sugar, and your whiskey. Whether it's bourbon or American whiskey, Canadian whiskey, it doesn't matter. Those three simple ingredients make this wonderful cocktail. So I'm going to show you two ways that I really like to enjoy it. And hey, it's tabletop tastings, so we're going to mix it up a little bit and add some smoke, which really intensifies the flavors. Let's make the first old fashioned that I really enjoy. And I'll be honest, I stole this, basically this recipe from the Wayne Gretzky estates. We went for a cocktail making course, and this is one of the ones that they made. It is so good, and I love how it's made up here. So first thing is, remember, there's three ingredients to an old fashioned. You've got your bitters, your simple syrup, and your whiskey. So we're gonna start with bitters. And I love the Dillon's orange bitters. They taste so good. So we're just I'm gonna put 4 drops in there. And then we're just gonna let that mix through the whole glass. Let it go right through all of that, nice and infused into that glass. You can turn it right upside down. It's not going to go anywhere. Nice and thick bitters on this one. Oh, I love that. Those orange, the orange bitters smell so fantastic. Next step, let's add some flame. So what we have is just a little piece of cinnamon. We're gonna give some char to it. And I wish you could smell this because this smells fantastic. When you do it, put it in the comments because you're gonna be blown away by just how good this smells. So let's add some flame to our piece of cinnamon. Once we get a nice little char going, just upside down like that. Look at the smoke fill that glass. It smells so good. This is a great base to our old fashioned. And don't worry, we're gonna add some more to it. Let's just let it soak in. You got music in your head? Because I do. Oh, this is so good. Let it sit. Just give it time. Let it just infuse all the way through the glass. Beautiful. Look at that smoke. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, so you can put that aside. So we've done our bitters. We're gonna add our simple sugars, and then we're gonna add our bourbon to it. Actually, I'm gonna use the maple cask from Wayne Gretzky's because this is what they used. Actually, they may have used the double oak, but I love the flavor on this maple cask and it just adds another element to it. So we'll add our ice cube to the glass. Get that swirled around inside there. And I just made, you might have heard me say simple syrup. So what is that? It is simple. It is just water and sugar, equal parts, mixed up really quick. I just made some before I came over to the studio. And so I'm gonna do just one of those over top. And then we'll add the whiskey. So that was 1 ounce. I'm gonna do 1.5 ounces because why not? It's a Saturday afternoon. We're gonna enjoy. Beautiful. Now, you can garnish. Most are garnished with a little bit of orange peel, but I'm going with the cinnamon flavor. So let's just mix that up and garnish with the cinnamon stick. And there you have it. This is one of the best old fashions. I love it. Maple, cinnamon, beautiful. Let's have a taste. It's like an apple pie. It's so good, old fashioned, nice and simple. There you have it. Let's do our next one.
And before you go on, can you just push it and hold it up to the camera?
Yeah. So tasty. All right, we're gonna do our second recipe that I really enjoy as well. And it's a little bit different, but basically the same again. Those 3 ingredients just mixed a little bit differently. And we're gonna add some beautiful smoke at the end. All right, so first step, we'll get a cube of ice in here. Boom. Get that mixed around. We're gonna take our bitters. Again, I'm using an orange bitter. I love that flavor with the bourbon. So just a few dashes. We'll mix that around. Beautiful. And then we're gonna add our simple sugar, simple syrup. And again, that's just equal parts water to sugar. Now you can as well, and I've done it with, especially with this recipe, I've used like a brown sugar and it just adds that extra little bit of flavoring to it. There we go. And then our bourbon. So in this case, I'm using Jim Beam Black. It's so flavorful for this. And we're gonna do 1 ounce. Let's do 2. 2 ounces. And we'll give that a little mix again. Now here is where we Tabletop Tastings really get something beautiful. So we're gonna take a little bit of our cherry wood chips and we're gonna place it just a scoop into our dish here. We're going to place our glass of Old Fashioned inside our box. And why wouldn't we? Let's hit her with some flame. Give that a close, and we'll allow that cherry infusion to happen. Let's give it a minute. I love this. Just let it soak in, let it sit. You're gonna enjoy this. It takes time. Everything good comes with just a little bit of patience. All right, let's reveal. Ooh, baby. You see that smoke? All of that has really infused into our drink. This is going to be a great Old Fashioned. Let's have a sip. Oh man, that is a great Old Fashioned. Keep it simple. Add a little flair at the end. That is a nice tabletop tasting Old Fashioned. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, 3 simple ingredients: bitters, simple syrup, bourbon, whiskey, spirit of your choice. You've got an Old Fashioned. It's great. You're gonna blow away your guests, or even if you just wanna have a nice sip of something in the evening and you don't wanna get complicated, make yourself an Old Fashioned. It's so good. Let us know what you think. Share your recipe in the comments. Let everybody know. There's no secrets here. We want everyone to enjoy. Like, subscribe, do all those things. This was another episode of Whiskey Drams with Steve. Thanks for watching.